If you are just joining us, we have been following this breaking story here of this helicopter that, for whatever reason, and that is TBD, had to crash land on top of this huge building in the middle of Midtown Manhattan. As a result of this forced landing, there was a fire on top of the building. This is all according to the governor and police. The fire has been contained. You can see by these pictures that it has been pouring rain. The ceiling is low visibility in the city. So one of the huge questions is, why was a helicopter flying? Whose helicopter was it? And how many were in the helicopter? We know that we can confirm one death. And we don't know anything much beyond that. Miguel Marquez is on the scene. We've now got him in front of a camera. So Miguel, show us what you're seeing and tell us what you've been reporting out.
Yeah, I want to show you the building here. So this is 7th Avenue, looking uptown 7th Avenue. You can just see the large number of emergency vehicles up here. And then if you look up to your right here, this is the building, 51 stories high. You can just make out the top of it now, and there is no obvious damage to the building or smoke coming off of it. That may be because it is just such a cloudy day right now. I want to jump in here. There's a gentleman here who was at work when all of this happened. And I want to chat with him real quickly if he can.
35 when it happened to 5 minutes after 2. It took a half hour to get from the 29th floor down to the ground floor. There were just too many people. It was too crowded, and everybody was trying to get off on all the floors at the same time.
Sir, when this incident happened, what did you feel? What did you hear?
You could feel the building shake, and you could actually hear the alarms when they went off. The alarms went off. Security came in, told us, everybody get out of the building now. Do not take the elevators, walk down the stairs. We could feel it when it hit, but no one knew what it was. We thought, like years ago when they had an earthquake and you felt the buildings here in Manhattan shake, we thought, well, that might have happened again. But when they said that a helicopter hit, we thought, a helicopter?
You were on the 29th floor. Did you smell smoke? Did you see fire?
Only coming down the staircase, you could smell it coming down the staircase, because that whole staircase is like one big shaft, a vent. It's like you could smell the smoke. Not thick, but you knew that there was smoke.
Did it smell like fuel, or what did it smell like?
It smelled like construction material that was on fire or burning. That is the smell you smell.
Any of your colleagues, did everybody that you know make it out all right?
That was what I was just checking to make sure everybody in my department, everybody on my floor did get out of the building. But there were a lot of people that were still on the way out when we got downstairs. So there are a lot of upper floors up there.
Given the history of the September 11th, 2001, what was it like when you felt it and the confusion there?
Well, a lot of people felt the building shake, and that's what they thought. Well, at first they didn't think a lot of it, but then when security said, get out of the building, then you got a little nervous. Then you started thinking, staircase. Do I want to be coming down a staircase if there's something bad that's happening? We had no choice. We all got out. Everybody was somewhat calm, but they were nervous because that thought is in the back of your mind.
May I have your name?
My name is Nathan Hutton.
H-U-T-T-O-N.
Yes.
And you're on the 29th floor. What do you do there?
I work in B&P. I work in the IT department.
And you're okay?
Oh yeah, I'm fine.
Thank you very much. Just one story of the many that we will hear in the days ahead from this. Let me show you again sort of what this looks like. If you go all the way to the top of the building, if you can, still no indication of what Mr. Hutton was talking about. He was about a little over halfway up that building and said he felt that helicopter crash into the building, but from at least this side of it. Perhaps on the other side of the building you can see more, but on this side of it there's absolutely no indication of any sort of emergency in this building. But a lot of people, I think, breathing a little easier right now, but still the governor said there was injuries and or fatalities in that helicopter. So whether it was a corporate helicopter ferrying someone across town, a news helicopter, or the many helicopters that fly around New York on any given day, we're yet to find out. Brooke?
Miguel, thank you so much, and thank Mr. Hutton for us as well. And, you know, from your vantage, you're not seeing, I hear a lot of smoke, but as we're looking at these live pictures from one of our affiliates here in the city, that looks like smoke to me, coming off the top of that building. You know, I know that the weather has been nasty. I know that the visibility has been poor, but that looks like plumes of smoke coming off of this 51-story building in Midtown Manhattan. And obviously that explains, you know, the incredible, the word Miguel used was pandemonium, the presence, right? The fire and police, as we've been reporting, one fatality, and trying to wrap our heads around why a helicopter would have been flying, how many people would have been in the helicopter, and if anyone was injured, even in the building. Bryn Gingras has been sitting here with me. She's been working on getting us some new information. So you have more on the death.
Yes, we have more. We have confirmed that a fatality is the pilot. However, we have to be very clear because we're not sure if the pilot being killed in this crash is separate from the fatality we just reported. So is it 2 people who were killed? Is it 1? That's what we're still trying to clarify. But we do know that the pilot was killed in this crash. And you're mentioning that video, and you brought it to my attention as Miguel was talking. I mean, that is an eerie sight, right? Yeah. And that's exactly what authorities raced to. Yeah. They got this call just before 2 o'clock. They first were told that it was a plane that crashed into a building, and as the governor said, PTSD. Right away. And of course, there was almost a sigh of relief in a way when they learned it was not as serious, just bring it down a notch.
Thinking back to 9/11, of course.
Certainly very serious, as we know at least 1 person was killed.
All right. Bryn, thank you very much. Let's go back down to the scene to Miguel Marquez. He's got another eyewitness for us. Miguel?
Yeah, we have Morgan Aries here. He was on the 14th floor of this building. Is that correct, sir? So, how are you doing? A little shaken, I take it.
A little shaky at this point, but at least now we got some clarity as what happened.
What were you in the middle of, and what happened?
So I work on the 14th floor. I commute every day. I'm here, and we were all in our chairs, and we felt a little bit of a tremor. Like, wow, that's something that's unusual. That doesn't normally happen. And sure enough, about 10 minutes later, 5-10 minutes later, we heard the loudspeaker. The guy reported we need to evacuate immediately. The first report we got was that we needed to stay in our seats and just remain.
Stay in your seats?
Stay there. The very first report was just, we're finding more clarity on what's going on. And then about another 5 minutes later, they said, okay, it's time to evacuate. Everyone, please go to the stairwells. Please get up and go. And so that's when we did. And it was a little nerve-wracking in the stairwell because nobody knew what was going on. But we did feel the tremors, so that's what made it a little more surreal.
Was it orderly getting out? Were you able to get out properly?
Yes, it was a little congested, obviously. We got a lot of floors in the building to get out, a lot of people. But there was a moment in which we all couldn't get out of the building immediately because we're all just backlogged in there.
So wait, how long were you at your desk before you guys all started to move? Total 5 minutes?
I would say about 5 to 10 minutes is when we eventually started to get up and out of there and evacuate from the 14th floor. But it took a good amount of time to actually get out of the building because there was congestion in the stairwell.
And I mean, when you heard, did you hear it was? At what point did you know it was some sort of aircraft that hit the building?
Everyone in the stairwell was just checking the news to find out what was going on because, like I said, at a couple points in time, we were just so congested that we weren't able to actually get out fast. So once everyone was checking their phones, we were looking for news, for updates. It wasn't until we got outside of the building that we understood that it was actually a helicopter that hit the building.
I take it that would have been even less helpful to know that information.
Yeah, at that
the
point.
History here.
Yeah, there was a lot of sirens going on when we got out of the building.
Did you smell smoke? Did you see any fire?
No, none of that. None of that.
Do you know if there's a helicopter pad on top of this building?
I do not know that.
Can we get your name and
what
you do?
Morgan Aries.
Thank you very much.
Can you tell us one more time what floor were you on?
So these are the sort of, pardon me, these are the sort of stories that we will hear time and again from people who got out of this building. It just very, very unnerving for people. A lot of confusion. It's surprising to hear that they were told to stay in their seats until they figured out more, and only then did they effect an evacuation. And clearly in this building, I don't know what year it was built, but it's not a brand new building, and I don't know what the evacuation routes are like. But 2 people now have said they were very, very crowded stairways, and it was a little concerning getting out of the building because of the crowding as they were trying to exit the building. But it sounds like, at least the 2 floors from people we've spoken to so far on the 29th and the 14th, that people were able to get out, at least on those floors. Brooke?
Miguel, thank you so much. And, just to underscore your point, the governor's point, it is eerie. It is PTSD. Just to hear people say, I was on the 29th floor, I was on the 18th floor, the stairwell was crowded, trying to get out of there, alarms, the building shook. But at least, thank goodness, in terms of fatalities, as Bryn was reporting, one confirmed dead. That is the pilot. Perhaps that is in addition to the other confirmed fatality. We just don't yet know. I've got a tweet. Let me just read this. We'll read this together. This is from FDNY. Confirms helicopter has crash landed on this roof. The fire has been extinguished and members continue to operate in response to fuel leaking from the helicopter.